Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? I would like to talk about a review that I saw a movie the other day called the movie The Chronicle. Um, Chronicle is a story about three best friends. Well, not really, they're not really best friends, but three high school students who basically discover some kind of meteor that was underneath the earth, and they don't know if it fell through the sky or was it underneath the rock already or underneath the ground. They seem to investigate it, they touch it, they are given powers as a result of touching it. They use their powers in very selfish and silly ways, and then after using their powers in selfish and silly ways, one of them, which is they're three basically individuals. There's Steve, there's Andy, and there's Matt. Two dudes are white, one is black. Steve is the one. I'll get to him in a minute. Um, so anyway, they use their powers for selfishness. They use it sometimes for entertainment reasons. But one of them starts to turn evil, and because he starts to turn evil because of the abuse that he went through, and that's Andy, that's his character. Basically, he starts to turn bad, and Matt, who's related to him, I believe they're cousins, he tries to stop him because for some reason he can't seem to control himself, and as a result, I won't tell what happened at the end because I thought the end, I'll get to the whole thing in a minute because there's a lot of stuff to talk about with this movie Chronicle, but that's basically the theme of the story is that it's done in a Blair Witch, Cloverfield type of documentary type of style. So if you like those type of movies, that's the way it's done. It's done in camera point of view again. So who's ever holding the camera is the point of view that you're looking at. But my opinion on this film is that there's been a lot of mixed reviews on this film, and you know something, I do agree with some of the mixed reviews that some of the films that been out haven't really been that great. I have to tell you, this movie is not a perfect 10 because a lot of people have said this was a perfect 10. Some people believe that this film is a ripoff of X-Men, which I can kind of see because Andy sort of plays like the Magneto character. So you know something, hey, I do believe that this film is better than X-Men, because to tell you the truth, X-Men, with the exception of X-Men First Class, that was about the best X-Men story, but the other X-Men films, they were kind of better than that, except for the latest one, because I kind of like the latest one that was done where they did the origin of how Xavier and Magneto met. That was probably the best version of X-Men, and with the exception of that, this film was better than X-Men. There were a couple of problems with the film. I'll tell you the good points. The very good point was that I loved the special effects in the film. I loved how they were using their superpowers in the most cool and incredible ways to give that kind of realistic effect in a kind of documentary style. I liked when they were playing football in the sky. I liked when they were fucking with people's heads and they were basically messing with people in the Toy Story. Excuse me, because I watched it with my child today, so I apologize. I meant in the toy store, and then I kind of like the scenes where you see Andy getting abused, and then he's basically turning evil. He went from robbery to using his powers for evil instead of good. I kind of like that transition. But I have to agree, the ending was very stupid. I didn't like the ending at all. I thought that it kind of ended in a dry way. You had all these exciting moments, and then all of a sudden when we get to the very end, you feel kind of cheated, or you expected something else to happen. But you know something? I have to give a thumbs down for the ending. I thought the ending was the worst. I've seen those type of documentary style movies, and you would think that they would have done a little bit better with Chronicle. Another problem I had with the film was the character Steve. I thought Steve was a little annoying at times. He was partially funny at times, but he was a very annoying character because every 5 minutes they kind of made him like the comical black goof, and it was sort of like, okay, you know what? Okay, he's like overdoing it now. He's sort of like the black clown, and you know something, maybe I'm harshly judging it, but I just hated how he acted throughout the whole film. It was almost like he wasn't really friends with this group of people, and from what I see, it was just more like, he knew these guys from some other people, and then basically they hung out together because they had this common ground that, you know what, we all have power, so we should all unite. But in other words, like, Steve was just annoying. I thought that they kind of calmed him down. Adam was more like the interesting character because you got to see that he was abused not only by his parents but by his peers. So you could see the kind of like the Magneto type of storyline, where I guess like in Magneto's storyline, his hatred came from how the Nazis treated his loved ones, particularly his mother, and how his hate grew. So I kind of liked his character better than the rest of the two. Matt was just like just a stupid character who was naive about what was going on with his friends. And at the end, he kind of was like, I don't really want to spoil the ending, so I won't go into it, because normally I would tell the ending, but I'm not going to go into the ending because those who haven't seen it, the film did make $22 million, so a lot of people kind of rushed and went to go see this film. I'm not surprised that it made that kind of money, because during January and February, it's hard to get any type of movie money, because, usually movies kind of suck around this time. But you know something? They made an interesting film. I'm not really knocking it. I like some of the points that I hated. They were just more like annoyances. Like, it was just like an annoying type of character. You know something? I'm not gonna lie on y'all, because I would never do that. I did see it in bootleg, so maybe the experience in the theater would have been a lot better. But I did watch this in a bootleg form, and everyone who was in the film or in the bootleg was laughing at every little thing that Steve did. Maybe that's why I got kind of annoyed, because he was sort of like, every time he did something stupid, you heard howling and laughing. And something, some of what he did was kind of funny, but he just was kind of like acting like acted stupid, really. So I thought they could have toned that down a bit. But something, overall, I would have gave this movie about a 6. It's not a 10 like the way I've been seeing a lot of people review on YouTube. Some people have said this is the best superhero type of film. And something, it is a very good film, but it's not a perfect 10 film. Because the reason why it didn't get a larger number was because of some of the characters being annoying, and the ending. The ending was it just left us like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we might get a sequel to this film, but the problem was that I thought it ended where it was just like, what the hell's going on here? You went through all this, your cousin basically died, and then, okay, I'm sorry I told part of that ending. But so you went through that, and then it ended like, okay, you know what, when you see this ending, you'll say to yourself, okay, I can't believe that I wasted my money on this. So do yourself a favor in watching Chronicle. Keep an open mind that the ending sucks, but enjoy the special effects. Because it does have a very good visual look, and it did have a very good story from the very beginning. Just when we got towards the end, it kind of left us hanging, and I was disappointed in that. I don't really believe that this film should make a sequel unless you're gonna have other people like the show Heroes when it was first on. Unless there are other people who discover meteors underneath the ground and basically have powers too. That would be about the only interesting thing about this story. I don't really see this being like a franchise type of film, because it's sort of like Heroes, but yet at the same time, what's the purpose of the story? So I say, we don't really need a sequel. it was an interesting take on another documentary world. Like, we're so used to seeing these documentary type of movies where, you know, they're doing a documentary on a ghost, then they're doing a documentary on a monster, and then they're doing a documentary on a serial killer or something. This time they kind of did a documentary on superpowers, or some kind of a new basically I'm saying it's superpowers, but did it in a way where they documented it. And I guess they figure, you know what, they wanted to do something interesting, like what it would be like for people to film a superhero type of group. So I thought it was a very different take than what we're used to seeing. Because usually when we watch these documentary type of films, we see the Blair Witch movies and the Cloverfields and the Quarantines, and we see, you know, crazy situations, and they were all great films. And I like those type of films, and I like the ending to those films too. But come on, I mean, Chronicle just ended where, okay, I said, you know what is the problem with this film? Why did it end the way it ended? So I had to give it, you know, oops, sorry about that, y'all. My thumb hit the camera. And by the way, the picture you guys just saw, that was a picture of Hostel. So I had that on my wallpaper. So anyway, so again, you know, to make my final point, you know, I just wish that the ending could have been a lot better. So do yourself a favor, you know, if you're going to check out the movie, keep an open mind about it, you know. Remember, this is a sci-fi film, so don't take it too seriously. If you're going to watch the movie, just have fun with it. But otherwise, I give it about a 6. I would give it a higher number, but just some of the characters and the ending just didn't suit me. So good movie, but otherwise, you know, for something, because there's not a lot of great movies out, so you know what, have fun with it. You know, take your girl to go see it or something, you know, just to get out or have fun with your boys. But don't take this film seriously. Don't look into this and say, you know what, oh, this is the greatest film I've ever seen, because this is okay. It's just, you know, just something fun that they did with it, and they made it interesting. So it's not a totally bad film. It's just a film that had some disappointing moments. So that's my take on Chronicle. Tell me what you think. Remember, hit me up with your comments. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I will be doing more reviews as I check out the movies. So we're getting towards Oscar season, so hit me up. Tell me what you think. Do you think Chronicle was a great film? Do you think it was a waste of time? Do you agree with some of my points? If you don't, let me know. But to tell you the truth, there are a lot of shitty movies, and you know, this was okay, but could have been better. So remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon, and I'm out.